Hey everybody, so I wanted to talk to you today about a conversation that I had a few days ago, probably about, a week or so ago now. That's something that has kind of been in the works for about 2 years. So let me start from the beginning back then, and it's a short story, so don't worry, it won't take too long. So about 2 years ago, I was on Facebook, and I saw a post from a friend of mine that I've known since middle school, and he's an atheist, and he shared this post about can't wait to see how many Christians are out there celebrating the devil's holiday, and in reference to Halloween. And for me as a Christian, as a kid, always celebrated Halloween, always did it even with our children in the first 6 years of their life or so, as my oldest daughter. Never really thought anything about it, of being out there on Halloween, dressing up. I mean, when I was a teenager, I went to all the horror, like really nasty horror places, like theme parks and stuff like that. Didn't think twice about it. And even as a parent, I never really thought too terribly much of it because my kids dressed up all the time. Dressing up on Halloween wasn't anything too serious. Now, granted, honestly, we didn't even let my kids have the candy. We just threw it away. We're not big on candy anyways as a family, so when we got Halloween candy, we just threw it away. So there wasn't a lot of decorating or anything in our family, but seeing him post that, coming from the perspective of an atheist, really made me think as how I'm walking in my faith. And this video is not to bash anyone. This video is not to put anyone down for what you do as a Christian or not as a Christian or whatever. It's just something that I wanted to share with you because it really made me think. So seeing this post from him, as someone who is, he proclaims to be an atheist, and he knows I'm a Christian. He knows that I am a believer in the Messiah. And so we've never had any issues over that. We've actually gained quite the common ground over planting. He's really into growing peppers, and a little over a year ago, my husband had a microgreens business. So we had a lot of commonalities in the way of growing things. And so it's something we had talked about frequently. And so seeing his post really made me think, because as a believer, it made me think of, how am I walking out my faith? Like, am I dressing my kids up on Halloween? Am I doing all the fun, silly, spooky things? And I know it's a satanic holiday. I know it's to celebrate the death and the gore and the nastiness and the darkness and everything else. And like I said, it's something I just never thought of. Like, in all my life, I never even thought of how that looks to necessarily the other side. So looking at it from an atheist or even a pagan perspective, how does that look, seeing Christians doing these things? And a lot of times churches, the church in general, will do things like having the Easter Bunny come to church, or, Santa Claus or whatever, things that we know are not Christian. But the church does it in order to try to, as they say, to try to bring in the other belief systems and everything else. And in my head, I really just started thinking about it, is how does that look to them? I mean, I'm sorry, atheists and pagans, they're not idiots in any way, shape, or form. They know. A lot of them actually really know the Bible, believe it or not. And there's those inconsistencies that they see between what some churches may do and what the Bible actually says, that gives them that pull. Now, some people just may not believe. Some people may just be straight up pagan. Some people may not even care. I don't know. But from personal experience of me talking to individuals that have been pagans or who are atheists, these are things that they've talked about. And it really gave me pause when I saw his post on Facebook about how I'm living my life as a follower and how I am portraying my faith and my faith in the Messiah and my faith in God. And how am I walking that out? How am I showing people of other beliefs my faith? And not even just being, like, quote, Christian. Like, am I walking the way Jesus walked? Am I walking as, Yeshua HaMashiach walked? And it's one of those things for me, when I saw that post, like I said, it was about 2 years ago. And at that time, it really opened up my eyes to the fact that I, even in little instances, was not walking in the way that I should be. And again, this is personal for my family. And so my husband and I, we stopped doing Halloween. And I actually reached out to that friend of mine this year, just before Halloween, and thanked him for that post that he did 2 years ago. And I acknowledge the fact that I know we think very differently on these subjects, and that's fine. You know what? I'm not here to try to convert him, or anything like that. I actually appreciated the fact that he shared his beliefs, and it actually made me think. And that's something that, him and I even had a conversation afterwards. Like, we were talking about different things. He congratulated me on, publishing my first book. I congratulated him on starting his business that he started just recently, and everything like that. It was a great conversation, and there was no arguments. There was no anger or frustration or anything like that. When I sent him, this like pages long message on Facebook, thanking him for that, he just said, I'm happy that I could, make you think. Like, I'm happy that I could make you think about your perspective. And that was it. And it's one of those things where we can have differing views. We can have differing, I don't even necessarily say Christian anymore. I'm a follower of the Messiah. I am Torah observant. My family and I do follow Torah, Old Testament to Revelations. Genesis to Revelations. So there's so much more that we do past now, even like what we did, 2 years ago when this gentleman brought this up on Facebook, in the way of following what the Messiah is taught. And so it's one of those things where we shouldn't look down on other people and their views and their thoughts and their beliefs. We're all in a different walk. We all get here different ways. I mean, when I was in college, I was agnostic for a while. And so it's one of those things that I can't even say that I was Christian my entire life, because I wasn't. And so it's one of those things where you have to be open to other people's opinions. Now, do you have to agree with other people's opinions? Not necessarily. I don't necessarily agree with him being atheist, but at the same time, I'm not going to fault him for that, because how many people were atheists that have now followed the Messiah? So it's one of those things where God will reach out to people in the ways that they're meant to be reached, and the ways they're meant to be touched. And it's the same thing. He can use everybody. I mean, for goodness gracious, he used an atheist to help change my perspective on how I actually walk out my faith. And so not doing, the Halloween thing anymore, or other, type of holiday type functions. And so it's one of those things where you have to be open to that, and you have to be willing to see God even in those instances. And like I said, I thanked him for that, because I think it's important for other people of other beliefs as well to know too that we are, as believers, as followers of Messiah, we still see what they say, we still acknowledge it, and we still understand like they have a different point of view, and that's okay. I don't want people to ever think that we, like myself and my family, are so hardlined in our beliefs that we hate people who think differently than us. That's not the case, because we're still learning, we're still growing, we're still adapting to, following Torah and everything else. And it's one of those things where we're forever in a learning process. If you ever are reading your Bible, you're forever in a learning process. There's so much information in there that you could read the Bible your entire life and still be learning things, and still be learning how to walk better with Yeshua. So it's just kind of a cool moment that I thought, 2 years ago, Yah had me see this post on Facebook about Christians doing Halloween from an atheist perspective, and how that changed my perspective as a Christian. And even now, even further going along in following Torah and everything else in my walk with Yeshua. So it's one of those things, guys. I just wanted to share this. It is something to think about too. Like, I do want to reach out in a sense to this to any Christians. This is not a jab at you. This is not a you're doing it wrong or anything like that. It's something to make you think. How are you walking in your life, and how are you showing others the way the Messiah walked? The Messiah did not celebrate Halloween, and things like that. And so it's one of those things where you have to think about that. And like I said, it's personal for everybody. If you still celebrate Halloween, that's on y'all. Like, I have zero say in that whatsoever, and I'm not going to judge anybody for doing that. Like I said, only 2 years ago is when we stopped doing Halloween. So it's one of those things. Just kind of think about it. Think about it also too from the perspective of other people. If you're a Christian and you're wanting to bring other people to Jesus, how is your life emulating that? How is what you're doing emulating that? Are you falling into false idols and paganism and things like that just to try to bring other people in? Or are you going to literally walk as the Messiah walked, and not fall into that other stuff, and just show them that this is the way the Messiah walked, and not be judgmental? Obviously still, care about other people and everything, but have a different walk, have a different, path than maybe necessarily the rest of the world. So just something to think about, y'all. Like I said, it's your walk. It's something that you do. You talk to God about it. You think of what's right for your family. This is just what was right for our family. But I wanted to share this because it was a very interesting moment how, God uses everybody. And God used a conversation with an atheist to help me bring me further along in my walk with the Messiah. So, all right, hope y'all have a great day. And of course, if you do have any questions or anything like that, especially if you have any questions about Torah and what following Torah looks like, you can drop them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have or reference you to anybody that may have better talking points than I do. But yeah, if you have any questions, guys, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Hope y'all have a great day.